To many, the road is a calling. To a select few, the road is a lifestyle. A place where they live and work as they journey through some of the most incredible landscape on Earth. Testing themselves and each other. Now, like never before, experience life inside and outside the peloton. As cycling's greatest, grant access to their inner circle, all while trying to conquer one of the most incredible races ever conceived. This is the All Access Mini-Series USA Pro Race of Truth, presented by Exergy. In the hours counting down to stage 1 of the USA Pro Challenge,
How's it going?
How you doing, buddy?
Pretty good.
every tribe has a different vibe. Some, like BMC, exude quiet professionalism.
Should be one of the more relaxed days because it's not like a big hard finish. Probably going to be one of only 2 chances for the sprinters.
Charlie, we having bananas?
Yeah.
That's a Mesa Verde Cortez.
There's no bananas. You can try pineapple.
Others, like Garmin Sharp, are more relaxed.
We've had a nice, quiet week hanging out here in Durango. I think everybody's recovered from Utah now and ready to go.
I'm gonna shower first.
Lift your foot up.
Shave your leg.
Off my table.
What's that supposed to mean?
What? I'll tell you what it's supposed to mean. Get that out of my face.
Rest assured, Zabriskie is joking, but soon he will turn serious. Often a team assumes the personality of their leader, and that is certainly the case with Amiga Farmer Quickstep.
In the van.
But did you ask them about more of this? Or are you saying that's the only one? One? One stick.
It's like a tease.
Don't think he probably said they probably will have some more by Aspen. But that's...
One stick. That was that last stick.
He went to the truck, he went through everything.
As goes Levi, so goes the team. At the Bontrager Livestrong Under-23 team, the vibe is more communal and casual, as they get a last-minute refuel.
Yeah, I'm going for 7 stage wins. I think that anything less than that would be a big failure for me. No, I'm kidding. No, I think, or am I?
We finished Tour of Utah a week ago and then been here since, so we've had plenty of time at altitude and just came off a race, so with like a week in between, it's pretty much perfect prep for this, so I think we'll all be going pretty good.
Wait, which one are we going to do?
The underhand one? Let's do a full hand hug.
It is good, yes?
All right, boys. I'm going back.
Don't worry, I'll get Josh's plate for the 47th time. I'll get these cups.
The camaraderie that is forged in the hours prior to the race lead to mutual sacrifice during competition, and ultimately, that is one of the key factors to winning races. Another key factor is strategy, and that is Jonathan Vorter's lifeblood.
I think they just need to, race aggressively today, because a lot of times the first day of races, everyone's real tentative and sort of looking, waiting, watching to see what the other teams are going to do. And, I think we need to just not do that and to just go out and throw it all on the line the first day.
With that, the epic challenge commences, and a journey of 600 miles begins with a single pedal crank. Coming up, inside Garmin Sharp's mobile headquarters, as Tom Danielson looks to catch Levi Leipheimer and every other contender off guard in a thrilling opening stage.
If this gets a little closer, we got no interest in the stage win, all right?
As the USA Pro Race of Truth, presented by Exergy, rolls on.
have 2 or 3 guys able to support, you know, whoever the leader sort of shows himself to be. But in order for us to get over the hump, you know, last year we were 2nd and 4th, we've got to have that one guy that steps forward and you know, it says, okay, I'm the guy for this race, and you know, I'm going to be able to pull it off. And right now, what we've got is strength in numbers. We've got a collective 3 or 4 guys that are at a very high level, but we don't have a definitive killer leader, and one of them needs to step forward and become that guy if we want to win this race.
As the USA Pro Challenge gets underway, within 4 miles, a 23-man breakaway has already formed, leaving many behind. BMC Racing Team and overall hopeful TJ Van Garderen opt to pursue. Tom Danielson is in the escape group, which means his team car is not far behind.
Okay, give me a bottle ready.
Tom, I don't know how good Zab is, but he's only about 20 seconds behind you with Velix. No, he's with Velix. One guy. They're 20 seconds behind you.
As director of Garmin Sharp, Jonathan Waters may have one of the most enjoyably difficult jobs on earth. From motivational speaker...
Just work through it, all right? No, I know.
...to psychiatrist.
I mean, as we get further, this is going to get up. You know, some guys are going to sit on what, just stay cool, you know, just stay calm.
And nutritionist.
Food, anything? Food? Gel?
But his most important job is definitely tactician.
Okay, Pete. So I think, you know, Lachlan and Zab have to pretty much put anything in it, and you and Tom should just be a little bit more chill, okay? Yeah.
And Waters has a few tricks up his sleeve.
Hey, you know, just so you know, like, if this gets a little closer, we got no interest in the stage win, all right? So, just so you know. Here's a Coke. Okay, so Zab should be pretty much all in right now, all right? Yeah. All right.
While Danielson refuels, Zabiskie takes the lead ahead. The world-class time trialist forges a bigger and bigger lead for the escape group, which means that team captains like Levi and Cadell must gauge the exact danger.
Levi, we have 22 leaders. They have only 2. BMC has only 2, eh? Cher and George. There are 4 from radio side. Huh?
One man, Scott, help us put one more on the front. Otherwise, it's raced over, right?
Yeah.
Leipheimer's nonchalant reaction to the escape allows opportunity. But Evans is clearly much more concerned. And his BMC teammate, Finney, pleads for assistance from Levi's Amiga Pharma Quick-Step manager.
You guys gonna give us a hand?
A hand?
On the front?
From who you want a hand? We have only Brahmeyer who was dropped, and Kiki has already dropped. So
I already got dropped, I'm back.
Yeah, but we want, but we're only 6 here, you remember. So when it's possible, we try, but Levi was talking with Cadell already, so...
Okay. Who from BMC riding right now? Vinny, Mateus, Frank, some Italian guy. They got 3 guys riding, maybe 4.
Well, you know, we're playing an aggressive tactic. We have 3 riders and a 6-rider break, which is, you know, obviously good, but it's very early in the race, so we'll see how that plays out as the race goes on. You know, a few of them could win the overall in the race, especially, you know, if the other big contenders like TJ and Levi don't come back up to this group. So we've got a really interesting situation right now, for sure.
Waters soon discovers the price Zabiskie has paid.
What's going on, Dave? What's going on? You all right?
Oh, jeez. Whoa. Get him a bottle. Get him a bottle.
Come on, Dave. Come on. I'll hold the weight a little bit. Get back up. Right around here. Right around here. Sorry,
Oh, what happened? I mean, I know you threw up,
like
but...
a split second. 2 big bars.
Yeah, I saw that.
Well, because he was, you know, when you noticed when he was in the break, he was able to drive it, and it was actually increasing the gap. But then when he started throwing up, you know, and he had to drop back, like you know, we needed one more guy to be able to really sacrifice himself.
For Garmin, The question remains whether Zabrisky's sacrifice will be worthwhile. Coming up, the drama heightens as Danielson makes his move, looking to knock out Levi Leipheimer and TJ Van Garderen before the first round even ends. Ahead on the USA Pro Race of Truth, presented by Exergy. On the climb up the 10,222-foot Lizard Head Pass, the man who knows these roads better than anyone else makes his move.
This race, for me, I can taste it. I'm sure the team will be able to see that. I think it's hard to not have a motivated team in Colorado, but all I'm going to say is the team's got to be more motivated this year than before. And in terms of results, I don't want to say anything because I don't want another 2012 Tour de France.
This is the first time Danielson has turned pedals in anger since separating both shoulders over a month ago on the unforgiving roads of France. As Danielson ascends the pass, his manager tries to join him.
Go, Tom, go. Oh, don't look back, just go.
Without anyone to help, Danielson now has to do all of the work. On the road, the stakes are often unclear, with a fog of war prevailing. And while at first it seems like Danielson is going for a mere stage win, it turns out that the gamble is much bigger. Last year's margin of victory was a mere 11 seconds, which means that if Danielson can catch all other contenders by surprise on this day, he may be able to gain an insurmountable lead. But the likes of Levi Leipheimer and TJ Van Garderen will never be able to recover from. Minute by minute, the huge gamble heightens. And while Danielson is at the summit first, the risk is not over. For there is still a dangerous downhill descent into the box canyon city of Telluride, 12 miles below. So Tommy Danielson now determined to get something out of this stage. At one stage, and he was in a big group nearly 6 minutes up. Now he knows the chase is on. It's around about a minute 20 now by the peloton. They really are fighting just to save the whole tour here on day one. As formidable a climber as Danielson is, descending is not his best quality. And soon 3 men catch him, including his teammate Peter Stettner. But the bigger danger is every other rider now realizing the seriousness of the situation. Second by second, the locomotive gains time. Then to Vorta's surprise, Danielson's teammate Peter Stettner opts to attack again.
No, Pete. No, Pete. Pete, no, Pete. Well, all right. Okay, if you can get away clean.
Now with Stettner at his side, Danielson searches for a second wind in determined pursuit of victory. It's a long, flat road, unfortunately, maybe for these two guys. As we make a right turn off this mountain, it's then a flat road towards the finishing line itself.
The two guys that I wanted up front are up front, so that's good. I would have preferred Zad.
We have a few riders out the front.
We are probably sitting on the motorbike here, Phil, with the main peloton. Just looking around that corner, you can see the two leaders. I would hesitate to guess there that it's around about 25 seconds the advantage.
While 25 seconds doesn't sound like much, it is double the winning margin of the 2011 edition of the USA Pro Challenge. And after a massive day of racing, the last thing these two riders want is to give up their hard-earned gain. Coming up, Danielson and Stettner try to make it to the line and claim victory in the Challenge's first stage, before the world's best can stop them. Ahead on the USA Pro Race of Truth, presented by Exergy. In the end, as is often the case with cycling, just 3 miles from Telluride, all of the energy expelled appears for naught, as Waters comes to the realization that the peloton will rein in Danielson.
That lead group of 3 has been reabsorbed. We are all together at the front. All together at the front, the lead group was reabsorbed. We are approaching the 2K.
But there is a glimmer of hope for Garmin as they possess perhaps the best pure sprinter in the field, 28-year-old Tyler Farrar.
I'm a sprinter, so, you know, I'm good at the fast, flat stuff. Just kind of the opposite of Colorado for the most part. Yeah, there's still a few sprint stages in Colorado, and, you know, hopefully I can take a good crack at it.
As they turn for the finish now, Farrar's really going to have to pull something special here. And Tyler Farrar is going to finish the day off for Garmin Sharp, and he's won his first stage in the Tour de France July last year.
Officially the Garmin rider, please.
Who? What? Who is it?
Roundabout, Adam.
All right! Yeah!
Farrar is an unofficial.
Wait, what? Farrar? She doesn't know how to... Oh, whatever! Who cares? Who cares?
I was certain it was like race over.
You can go by bike.
That break was just...
Take the bike back to the...
We had to chase. I felt bad about it, but when you got those guys up there, it's like...
No, dude, I was totally for that. I even told them to tell you to chase.
Yeah,
Finally,
I think
good.
considering our team, that was pretty good. It can't be any better.
Too shy that Peter had cramps at the last 4 kilometers.
Yeah, it's normal.
You know, I mean, I knew today could possibly be a sprint, but I really wasn't sure if I'd have the legs to make it, so I'm pretty happy to pull it off. I mean, obviously, you know, our home is in Colorado as a team, so we take this race really seriously. To win here is huge. And, you know, for me personally, I've had kind of a disaster of a season, so this means a whole lot to me to finally get a win.
Well, if it makes you feel better, we won. Yeah? Tyler.
Oh, thank God.
All right, I feel better.
Zabriskie has often been the star, but in cycling, even stars embrace sacrifice. While Waters is more than happy with the silver lining.
You know, we played a real aggressive strategy, and obviously Tyler was just able to sit in and save everything he had as a result of that aggressive strategy, and you know, forced all the other teams on the back foot to chase all day long. And when you know, when they finally caught our last 2 guys, you know, the guys left on the peloton had a pretty easy ride all day long, and you know, they took advantage of that and put the nail in the coffin.
Not only is this Farrar's first win in over a year after a terrible season to date, he looks transformed in the leader's jersey.
I thought for sure we were going to win the race, but we're just too light, and that descent was too long or something. I don't know. Everybody went fast from behind. Damn it. What are you going to do? I guess you're going to try again tomorrow. But Tyler did a phenomenal ride. Good to see him climb like that. I think he got the form from turning himself inside out in the Tour de France every day, and then, of course, in the Tour of Utah. So he did a great ride. It was awesome to see him win, and it was awesome to give all the fans at home, you know, something to watch. And I'd have to say that was probably the most exciting bike race of the year.
As Garmin Sharp has ended the day with 3 of the 4 of the classification leaders' jerseys. 125 miles are now behind, but 558 grueling miles still lie ahead, including an extraordinary encore. Beginning in Montrose, Stage 2 has Sting with 2 short but challenging climbs, 2 sprint lines and a tough 2-mile climb up Mount Crested Butte. Each of these pinnacles are likely launching pads for breakaway specialists.
if it's kind of flat or not really big climbs on the beginning, the finish is going to be still hard. Of course, maybe the breakaway can go to the finish, but everything depends how the first stage will develop and what the results will come from the first stage.
From there, the peloton steamrolls towards familiar territory, with a sprint line in Gunnison and a second sprint line in Crested Butte.
For sure, I think some of those stages where you'd more likely see a large group come to the line, you'll see some of the teams with good sprinters control and try and keep the race together.
A difficult 2-mile climb foreshadows the dramatic finish on Mount Crested Butte.
The climb up to the finish is hard. You know, it's a technical circuit through the city of Crested Butte beforehand, and then last year that was the most decisive stage besides the time trial, really. You should see the same finale. I mean, that's the first day for the GC guys to really play their hands.
Even though it's a short climb and not super steep, that thing hurts, man. I remember it from last year. You think you're feeling pretty good after a relatively easy day leading up to it, and then for 5-10 minutes at the finish, there's no hiding.
That's why Levi won, because also Levi is not a sprinter. Levi is a climber, really good climber, and that's why he was really good there.
You know, I'd never won a race in that fashion before, and with that kind of explosive move like I pulled off that day, and a lot of people were suffering from the altitude, and no one really expected such a sharp, difficult finish. But obviously I have good memories from that day.
To witness unseen images and learn the inside story from every stage, including exclusive in-car footage, pre- and post-race interviews, and much more, make sure to tune in every day this week at 3:30 p.m. Eastern to catch every episode of USA Pro Race of Truth. Next, the Stage 2 of the USA Pro Challenge begins live on the NBC Sports Network. Tyler Farrar has refound his winning form to become the first leader in the Exergy yellow jersey in the US Pro Challenge. But the man who won on the stage to Mount Crested Butte last year was Levi Leipheimer on his way to winning the race. Stage 2 next. Yesterday, the favourites in the USA Pro Challenge attacked to the Colorado Mountains from the gun on leaving Durango. Over 100 miles later, the pack had fought back into contention, and the sprinter Tyler Farrar ended his win drought in Telluride. Tyler Farrar won it by an awful long way. Now Farrar must defend his race lead as it heads to Great Crested Butte, where defending champion Levi Leipheimer won a year ago. It's all next on the NBC Sports Network. Welcome back to the USA Pro Challenge presented by Exergy as we now go out onto day 2 and stage 2. We'll start from the city of Montrose at an elevation of 5,794 feet on a stage presented by Aquadrat. We will head to Mount Crested Butte along some of the most stunning scenery in the state of Colorado. The riders already having passed round the Blue Mesa Lake, and right on the top there they have the best view because they'll be looking down on the finishing line here at Mount Crested Butte. The sun is out, it's a lovely warm day, and we are set for a great bicycle race. Hello everybody, welcome back to our live coverage now of the USA Pro Cycling Challenge. I'm Phil Liggett, alongside me is Paul Sherwin. Well, yesterday, what a day. They raced from the start. Only 57 riders finished in the group of the 117 that came home. 7 riders, in fact, gave up the whole challenge. Paul, it was a real day of racing.
It started, as you said, Phil, from the gun, and it was really, I would say, the responsibility of one team, Team Garmin-Sharp. They hail from Colorado. They're based in Boulder, Colorado, and I think they really want to win this race. But to race so hard, over 11,000 feet of climbing on a day like that, 27 miles an hour, there's going to be some sore bodies in the bike race today, but it just goes to prove how serious the athletes in this event are taking it.
Couldn't agree more. Well, let's have a look then at the United Healthcare overall standings. This is how it stands today. It is, in fact, a copy of the result yesterday. Farrar won the day. Bazana, a sprinter from Italy was second. Caruso was third. Freddie Rodriguez of Exeter was fourth. Rory Sutherland finished in fifth. All right, let's have a look now at the Evolve Beverages stage map today. A little bit hilly at the start, Paul. They've already gone over these hills.
Yes, the two hills very early on, straight out of the blocks this morning as the riders moved away from Montrose. As you said, 5,800 feet. They've gone over Cerro Summit. They've also cleared the third category climb of Blue Mesa Summit. They're now making their way down towards the base of the climb finish here, Mount Crested Butte. And that's where I reckon today we will see the massive big showdown.
Yes, it's on that climb to the finish where Levi Leipheimer made his move last year and eventually he won this race. Let's have a look at the Colorado Tourism stage facts. 99 miles today. It's not so far for these boys. The sprint points and the climbs are already behind us. It's a new host start from Montrose. It's the second time we'll have come to Mount Crested Butte and there's a great atmosphere here. We finish at 9,423 feet above sea level. Yes, and it is really a beautiful day here. Let's go straight to the live action here. These are the 12 leaders who've been setting the pattern of racing for most of the day. They went over the two climbs. Castelblanco on the top of our list there. He went over the first one ahead, and the second one, Frank is in there, Infantino, Jens Voigt, Chris Baldwin is in here as well. They're all on 0 time, so any one of these could be the next overall leader. Alex Howes, Craig Lewis, they're the most important men. Nibali lost a minute 46 yesterday, but he's in the break again. Matt Cook is there, and also El Faraz. And Dave Zabriskie, who was in the break yesterday and then was violently ill, is in the breakaway again today, along with Agnoli. So that's the composition of the 12 leading riders. And I have to say the team EPM Uno have been doing an awful lot of work in this breakaway, especially with Jorge Castelblanco. He's won the first two and only climbs. We get to the third category climb, which is next one, is at the finishing line itself. This is the main field now. It's been out quite a long way, but it seems to be coming under control. They're holding it around about 4¼ minutes. It's yo-yoing a little bit, but it looks now as though they're really putting the backs into this. And not surprisingly, it is the team of Levi Leipheimer who are now driving at the front, the Omega Pharma team from Belgium, because this is where Leipheimer was building his win situation a year ago when he won at the finishing line. Well, let's take you quickly through how it all went earlier today as we got out to a tremendous start. It started down in Montrose. This is the Smashburger signing. Cadell Evans signing in. He lost 12 minutes yesterday. He wasn't at all happy with that. And then the race gathered for the start. 117 riders in the big peloton, and as soon as they were clear of the city limits, they were under pressure. One attack after another. The peloton was in splinters, and eventually it started to settle down. You can see how the bunch are fragmented in the distance here. There's only one way to get to Mount Crested Butte from Montrose, and riders were set firm. First climb of the day, the breakaway was establishing. It was Jorge Castelblanco alone in the lead. Once over the top, he would wait for the other 11 riders just behind him, and they all came up as well. Now, 6 of these riders finished in that leading bunch yesterday, so they are on 0 seconds of Tyler Farrar. This is on the second climb of Blue Mesa here, which was 31 miles in. And a nice little attack again by Castelblanco as he got rid of Matt Cook just before the summit. He got maximum points. It's Matt Cook, though, who got second, who's moved up into second place in the Nissan King of the Mountains. But Tommy Danielson, who got the lead yesterday, keeps his lead tonight, I think. It just depends on the order at the finishing line. So into the Honey Stinger feed zone as they grab the little feedbacks here. They had a good lead here. It was over 5 minutes, and number 41 there, Vincenzo Nibali, had a long way in the break yesterday, but paid dearly, trailing in a minute and 3/4 down in the end. He's having another go today. The second rider here is Dave Zabriskie, Garmin Sharp. Well, that's Alex Howes in second place. There's Zabriskie is coming through as well. Just checking out the line. 2 riders from Garmin Sharp up here in the lead group. All working together, no signs of the passengers, and it's only in the last sort of half hour we've seen a real reaction starting from the field. There's Dave Zabriskie with his teammate Alex Howes. That's our Radio Shack tracker, as we point him out for you. And as you can see the long thin line coming through, the riders setting the pace, swinging off, dropping gently to the rear of the line. That's a good sign. This is still very much a working unit here. You will see, as always in Colorado, some stunning scenery, especially around the lakes. So, no signs of passengers at all, Paul, as we look at these pictures here, running towards Gunnison now.
No, they are a very historic town of Gunnison. Obviously, Levi Leipheimer feeling very good this afternoon. You know, when you've won a race in the past at a certain town, you've always got that little bit of added motivation. That's probably why we've got Omega Pharma Quickstep on the front here doing the pacemaking. It's a small squad. They've only brought 6 riders to the event. They've already lost 1 man from their squad. That was the sprinter, Francesco Chicchi. I was a bit surprised about that, but, you know, yesterday, Phil, the race was just so difficult. 45 kilometers an hour, 27 miles an hour average speed.
Yeah.
There will be some sore legs today.
They will, and it's not a wet day like yesterday. After the riders finished yesterday, there was a torrential storm hit the race, but they were all safely home and in the dry. Today, no sign of rain. The temperature around 70 degrees. That's about 19 degrees Celsius. 9 miles per hour is the wind, and it's partly cloudy. But basically, it's a beautiful day for a bike race, especially at altitude, because we're starting at round about 7,000 feet and we're finishing at over 9,000 feet today. Although the hills here in Colorado are much more gentle, and you gradually get higher. But as they run down towards Gunnison now, all of these riders working pretty well together. Chance to see the Tyler Farrar in his Exergy leader's jersey. Now, yesterday, Dave Zabriskie was the man who was in the breakaway, and then he got dropped by the breakaway, having literally given his all on a long breakaway. He was quite ill as he fell back through the cars, and then he never recovered to catch the leaders again. He did come back home a little bit behind the field yesterday. There he is, finishing in the group on the far right, a wry grin on his face there, but the good news was Tyler Farrar, his teammate, had won the stage, and as you can see, he's back in the thick of the action again today. There he is down there, so why not catch up now to learn a little bit more about Dave Zabriskie. Let's go to Steve Perino inside the race.
Guys, no doubt you have not forgotten how yesterday Dave Zabriskie literally turned himself inside out for his team and then ended up losing his breakfast in the middle of the race. Well, talked to his team doctor, who we saw give him some pills in the middle of that. They were anti-nausea medicine, and that nausea medicine helped in the moment. I saw Zabriskie drop back after that, try and get some nutrients in, including a Coca-Cola. After the race, they're trying to get fluids in him to help him recover for today, but it said it took him a while, so I had to dose him throughout the day. They were just hoping that he was going to be ready for today, but clearly he is.
Well, thanks, Steve. And, well, I have to say, I'm totally amazed by Dave Zabriskie today. He's wasted no time, and it was a very, very active start and a difficult way to organise a breakaway today. So he had to be very strong at the start to get in to this move today. And Zabriskie obviously totally recovered from his hard ride of yesterday. Heading into Gunnison here as we look down on the leaders now. And in the group now, still looking calm, cool and collected in the light blue on the far side. That's Levi Leipheimer. Sits 18th overall, but 0 seconds. So his actual placing doesn't really matter at this moment in time. He was winning this stage by the end of the day up the climb of Mount Crested Butte 1 year ago. So Leipheimer still won't be too concerned by this breakaway just at the moment. And as he stays in the peloton, just over 4 minutes behind, we're going right into the distance onwards from Gunnison. So we'll take our first break. See you in a moment. Welcome back as we're waiting now for the riders to come into the centre of Gunnison, and there they are, the peloton now coursing towards the leaders. Will be heading up towards the first sprint, or the second sprint of the day rather. As we get through first sprint of the day, it will be indeed 67 miles covered of the 99. So just 32 miles left to race to the finish today. Not quite as quick as yesterday. The breakaway getting away early on. The riders perhaps feeling a little bit tired from that incredible high-speed charge to the mountains yesterday. Despite the hills, they achieved 27 miles an hour average speed. And this is today's stage. The hills are behind us now. Castelblanco having won both of the climbs. The sprint is coming up there in Gunnison. The leaders have just passed through. And one more sprint and one more climb takes us up to the finish in Mount Crested Butte. Well, after the first visit of the race last year, I can tell you the town are really up for it this time around. The atmosphere is tremendous. Everybody knowing the riders by name. And I think we found a few more supporters of the sport of cycling since we came up to Mount Crested Butte a year ago. It looks as though the peloton is paying a lot of attention now. They are setting the pace. United Healthcare are right up there as well, the light blue and white stripes as we check out with our Radio Shack tracker. There is Tyler Farrar, resplendent in his extra yellow jersey as leader of the race, but of course on 0 time from 56 other riders because there's no time bonuses, and 57 riders finished together yesterday, all on the same time. So just the wrong order in the sprint at the finish. We'll find a new leader today. So for more information on polar water bottles, well, let's catch up now with our Bob Rowe.
One of the most critical elements of enjoying a bike ride, especially at altitude, is hydration. I'm here with Mike Goldberg from Polar Bottle to explain the attributes of a water bottle you might not have seen before.
Hey, thanks for having me, Bob. The Polar Bottle is the original insulated water bottle. It's a double-walled, BPA-free water bottle that we make in Boulder, Colorado. It'll actually keep your water cold twice as long on the bike as a conventional single-walled bottle. So you're not drinking bathtub water out there after a couple miles on a real hot ride.
I like my margaritas on the rocks. Would it keep them a little bit cooler maybe throughout the day?
Oh, you know it, Bob. Margaritas, whatever you need to put in there, it's going to keep it cold and refreshing all day long and much colder than a single-walled bottle.
And you guys have a special edition for the USA Pro Challenge, I hear?
Yeah, we sure do. We're really excited to be a part of the US Pro Challenge, and because of our partnership, we came out and made our 5 Leaders jersey bottles, which are replicas of all the jerseys that the riders are going to be racing for. So we're real excited to be here, making our Colorado water bottles and here supporting racing in Colorado.
Well, thanks for being here, and we'll see you out on the road.
You got it. Thanks, Bob.
Nothing like a nice cold drink on a hot summer's day here in Colorado, that's for sure. As the peloton now stream through Gunnison here, which is named a town after Captain John Gunnison. Many places named after Gunnison here in Colorado. Peloton there now looking as though it's being pulled into a very long line here. Remember, there are 12 riders up front. The gap is holding. That was the sprint point. The leaders have gone through. The winner there from the leading group was Alex Howes, ahead of Chris Baldwin and Craig Lewis. But there's no time bonuses there, by the way, this year. It is just a part of the points competition, which is sponsored by Waste Management. This is the Western State Colorado University just here as we pass through the campus. We won't be stopping as we scream out of town.
Well, it's a pity we can't look over to the the right-hand side of the riders' field, because over on one of the hills over to the right, they've got the university logo, a massive big W scraped into the side of the mountain.
They have, as we saw yesterday as we drove through here, heading up to the finish last night. Some of the wildlife reported on the way. We saw black bears. We didn't personally, but they were reported by some of our team, as well as plenty of deer and elk. All the wildlife here in the state of Colorado. We'll take another break. Rejoin us. And here's the race leaders update presented by United Healthcare. The extra yellow jersey worn by Tyler Farrar today. Tyler Farrar also owns the Waste Management sprint jersey. Tommy Damson, he's in the Nissan King of the Mountains colours and is still the leader so far today. Gavin Magnon is the best young rider, and that's sponsored by Aguadrat. And Peter Stettner, the most aggressive rider from Evolve Beverages. Those are the current wearers of those jerseys in the race. Now, as we catch up with the leaders here, they're running out of time behind, you know. This is the main field, and Matt Bramier, the champion of Ireland, is racing on the front at the moment. United Healthcare also well in the mix here, trying to bring back this breakaway. Not doing a very good job, one has to say, just now. The gap is holding at 4¼ minutes, and we're around about 25 miles or so, 26.5 miles before the finishing line itself. It really has got to be in the next few miles of racing that this gap starts to reverse. Otherwise, one of the 6 riders on 0 seconds in that front group, whichever one finishes in front of the other 5, will be the man to take that yellow jersey away from Tyler Farrar. So we'll see how the chase down goes now, because there are 6 riders in that leading group. Casti Blanco is sitting 10th overall at 0. Matthias Frank is in there on 0 seconds. Rafa Infantino from EPM, 0 seconds. Same for Jens Voigt, same for Alex House of Garmin Sharp, and the same for Craig Lewis. They're all on 0 seconds. The others have lost time, like Nibali's lost 1:46, Cook 6:48. El Ferez finished with Cadel Evans yesterday, 12:43 behind on the first day of racing. Dave Zabriskie, as we saw, dropped away, lost 15 minutes in the end, and Agnoli also losing time yesterday. So there is Dave Zabriskie now, back up with the leaders, and he looks as though he's doing okay. He's having a chat here at the moment with the Bissell rider in the breakaway. That's Chris Baldwin. Bissell always put a man in the breakaways, so well done to Team Bissell, who always get a man up front. Anyway, for more information on another bike event, let's again check in with Bob Roll.
I'm here with Lydia and Uli Flume from Grand Fonda, New York, and Brian Ferris from USA Pro Challenge. Tell us a little bit about the Grand Fonda in New York and what that means.
Well, Grand Fonda is mass participation amateur cycling. There's hundreds of them in Italy, and there's thousands of participants. It's prestigious to win a Grand Fonda, but you can also just participate to finish. We have 5,000 people participating this year. We'll have 7,000 next year. We also have a two-day pre-race expo, the NYC Bike Expo, with 20,000 visitors. And next year, we're already working on a pro race that will start ahead of the amateurs on the similar course as Grand Fonda New York.
And Uli, what course does the Grand Fonda go through New York? That must be pretty exciting.
We start in New York City, and this is really awesome. It's something really unique with all these people starting there. And we head out north to Bear Mountain National Park, and the beauty that's just outside New York City on a tough course, challenging 8,500 feet of climbing, 110 miles. And we come back and finish close to the city.
And Brian, how is the USA Pro Challenge involved with the Grand Fonda New York?
You know, we wish all of our fans could come out to Colorado, but what we do is we bring a little bit of our race out to great events like the Grand Fonda New York. This year we sponsored a KOM challenge at the top of Bear Mountain, set up a great experience like you see here at the Pro Challenge, and let all the amateurs ride through it and have a great taste of what the pros do.
All right, well, thank you guys very much. And if you want to have some good fun on the East Coast on the bicycle, check out the Grand Fonda New York.
Thank you.
Yes, absolutely, Bob. And New York is not a flat state, believe me. Well, there's the man from Butte, Montana, but he now lives in Santa Rosa, California. Levi Leipheimer, and last year's winner of this event, which was the inaugural event, and another man in this race for the last time, sadly. There's Big George Hincapie, as we always love to call him. He originates from Queens and New York. He now lives down in Greenville in South Carolina. He may even ride that New York Grand Fondo next year, because he won't be having to worry about the Tour de France anymore. Just behind, Cadel Evans, very upset with his ride yesterday. He cracked big time and lost over 12 minutes, falling back on the last big climb of the day. But TJ Van Garderen, his protected teammate on the far side in the red, he finished in that leading group of 57 riders, so he's challenged very much on to win this race when we get down to Denver with the final time trial. So Cadel now committed to help TJ try and win this race for the USA, because Cadel lost his chance yesterday. So there's the bunch for you. There is the breakaway. They're still ahead by over 4 minutes, and if that bunch doesn't start closing in soon, one of those is going to be the next leader of this race. Crested Butte Mountain Resort will dispose of over £3.6 million of waste each year, recycling almost 60% of total waste. The resort also recycles waste oil, metal filters, metal, tyres and electronics. What a great job Waste Management does there, I must say. So let's go down and join the leaders now as they continue. We're waiting to see a reversal here. The peloton does appear to be going pretty quickly. These are the 12 names for you. One of the first 6 riders with 0 on the right there, if they stay away, will be the leader of the race by the end of this day. Casablanca, Frank Infantino, Voigt and Chris Baldwin. Further down, Alex Howes and Lewis complete the men in the hot seat. Then Nibali, Matt Cook there as well, Zabriskie, Agnoli, these are the riders who got away together and came together. Now, yesterday, you might just see the marks on Taylor Finney's left arm there, nearest camera. He crashed yesterday after 1 kilometre, half a mile into the race, and it cost him because he finished alongside Cadell Evans at the end of the day, so he lost his chance of winning this event. He conceded almost 12 minutes, but he's going home to Boulder, Colorado on this route, and he says that's where he wants to ride well, and of course he wants to ride well in the last day time trial too. It'll have to be a stage win. We're over all of the hills at the far left of our picture now. We're through the sprint in Gunnison, where Alex Howes from Garmin Sharp was the winner there. One more sprint to come, which is in Crested Butte itself. And as soon as we cross that sprint line, we climb up to the finish of Mount Crested Butte, which is a 3rd category climb in the rankings, outside category to 4th. So it's a hard enough climb to break the field, but it's not going to cripple anybody today. So as they continue to work together, and they still are working together, aren't they, this group of 12 riders? Vincenzo Nibali, who came in here as a pre-race favourite, well, I think he lost his chance yesterday. He was in the breakaway, which surprised us, but when he was caught, he was dropped, and he lost 1 minute and 46 seconds. So I can't see him getting that back now on some of the riders who finished ahead of him yesterday. Brave man to go out on the attack again today, though, and 2 days in front for Vincenzo Nibali. A little bit of a problem with the picture, so let's show you the finishing line. This is the climb. This is Crested Butte at the top. This is the Mount Crested Butte. And take a look at the crowd already assembled here as they're being entertained by the BMX boys. Now, I'm hearing of a crash on race radio. And there it is. So that has happened in the peloton. A touch of wheels here. Right at the moment, Ben King is on the floor there as well. And also here is Bertogliati. Well, a touch of wheels. This is the Bertogliati, Aruns, the Swiss rider on Team Type 1, who's down. Ben King is down there as well. And we've got another one here from Team Type 1 too, Paul.
Well, I think the reason for that, Phil, is Ben King looks as if he's in a serious amount of pain there. Now, what's happening, we were starting to get a bit of organisation coming at the front end of the race. And with the crosswinds, it was forming a little echelon across the road. And everyone's scrambling to get out of the wind and into the shelter. And then all of a sudden, you touch wheels and you go down hard like this.
Well, the other rider is Georg Predler, the Austrian on Team Type 1. And Ben King, who doesn't look too good at all here. I think he's in quite a bit of pain and waiting for a little bit of assistance. He's getting up. That's a good sign. And now he's also, I think, wants to look for his bike. He's taken quite a knock there. His shorts ripped, as you can see. But the crosswinds are coming left to right of our picture now, pushing the rides across. And the crosswinds, we expect them to cause trouble. There are quite strong winds blowing here today. A sudden move. Now he's got a new bike. He's going to try and ride that pain out of his legs. We're still leading on the road. Georg Predler is one of the young riders in the race. There's the situation from the helicopter.
The thing is,
Phil, riders fell pretty heavily there.
They certainly did, and it's these crashes like this which can very often be the worst. That's Predler who's got himself back up. You've got to understand that in the sport of professional cycling, Phil, there's no timeout, there's no blood bin. You've got to get back on your bike and stay into the bike race. So you've got to somehow try and get yourself to the finish. And of course, despite the fact that these guys have been on the ground, they've had their bikes looked after by the mechanics, they've still got to finish within a percentage of the winner's time.
That's right, I think it's 14% today. No, it's a 10% time limit today, which is not a lot at all. And the leaders now see what's happened because of the situation here. In fact, we've gone under pressure at the front. That is Nibali and Jens Voigt, who have for some reason dropped off this breakaway. Somebody has gone off the front of these leaders because they know now they are scurrying to the town of Crested Butte, and then it's about 3 miles or 5 kilometres uphill to the finishing line. They were getting concerned by the chase there.
Well, I'll tell you what happened there, Phil. That wasn't actually a split. I'll tell you exactly what happened. What was happening was Jens Voigt has been sitting on the back of that group. I think he'd been given orders by Team Radio Shack to stay at the back end of the group, and he's going to try and get himself back into the group now with the riders that he was with, and that, of course, Vincenzo Nibali.
Well, we'll take a check out on that one. Predler is back and riding again. It was quite a rough old tumble, and quite a few riders did bounce pretty heavily on the road. Also involved in the crash was Sergei Klimov of the Rusfellow team as well. We think that they're all more or less now up and riding. This man certainly is, Predler. We haven't got too much news on King yet.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, though, Phil, with a crash at 38 kilometres to go, he will find himself losing an awful lot of time. These are the riders who've come off the back of this group, and it's a little bit because of a tactical manoeuvre, I think, between Nibali and Jens Voigt that they've caught themselves unawares and off the back end of the group.
Well, what they've done now is put themselves back into trouble here. 151 is the next likely leader of the race if he can get ahead of the others up the climb today, and that is Jorge Castiblanco. So don't forget, every weekday morning, wake up and turn on the lights. Get all your sport in half the time with an all-new show that lets the highlights do the talking. The Lights, weekend mornings on the NBC Sports Network. So, well, 3 men have been fooled by the tactics. They're chasing behind, but the rest of the riders, all 9 of them, are now heading towards Mount Crested Butte. We'll see in a moment. Now, the town of Crested Butte was incorporated on July the 3rd, 1880, with a population of approximately 400 people, and its old city hall was constructed in 1883. The building is listed on the Historic American Building Survey, and although it no longer serves as the town city hall, it still remains in use today as an art gallery. And this is where the riders are bound for now. This is the town that sits about 3 miles below the finish. So welcome back now to stage 2 between Montrose and Mount Crested Butte, presented by Aquadrat. 99.2 miles today, and I can tell you that they are flying again. They're going to beat 4 hours for the 99 miles, which is very quick indeed. So let's find out more now on the rider telemetry from yesterday's stage presented by Training Peaks, and Bob Rowell has more on this.
The capture and study of watts is how coaches and athletes decide how their training is going in professional cycling today. I'm here with Dirk Frill, the founder of Training Peaks. He's going to take us through some of the numbers that the riders produced power-wise on stage number 1.
Stage 1 was a doozy. The first 20 minutes was the hardest of the entire day. Tom Danielson pumped out about 330 watts for the first 20 minutes to establish that breakaway. They covered the first 100 miles in 3 hours and 45 minutes, and that included Lizard Head Pass. Took them 2 hours to go up 3,000 feet, 25 miles per hour average, but that is absolutely amazing.
Peloton is about 45 minutes beyond the fastest time. What does that translate to in electricity-wise for the average viewer out there?
Yeah, they basically powered 4 laptops per rider out there today for 5 hours. They were just over 5 hours. 60 miles per hour on the final descent off of Lizard Head Pass into Telluride. And Tyler Farrar, he basically powered an entire microwave oven coming into around the final bend. No one else could match that. Just amazing numbers today.
Are you glad that you're studying the numbers rather than producing them?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, it's a lot easier to check them out after the fact than try and produce them yourself. And, you know, Tyler probably did 3 times more power than that typical rider could do. So for more of by the numbers, go to trainingpeaks.com.
Thanks very much indeed. Well, that's really interesting stuff. I'm going to borrow Tyler Farrar to power up my house when I get home. So there's a little look at the finishing line for you. The breakaway is still clear. The gap is still hovering around about 4 minutes. That's the high peak as we head up now to the finish in Mount Crested Butte. We'll take a break. See you shortly. Well, welcome back to our coverage now. Crested Butte is where we're headed to. Mount Crested Butte is known, you know, as the wildflower capital of Colorado. These hills here are full of wildflowers. It has a famous wildflower festival every July, when this area is totally awash in beautiful wildflowers. It's also a great ski area, by the way, and the US Extreme Skiing Championships and the X Games have been here. Now, back to the riders. In the far distance is where we're headed. You can't quite see Mount Crested Butte from this angle. We've got to slip around the bigger mountain off to our right as we course towards now. There's still only 9 men left now. Jens Voigt and the 2 riders from Liquigas Cannondale have not rejoined. This is the peloton. It's still being timed at 4 minutes and 10, and this is Levi Leipheimer, who will be thinking now about the fact he won here 1 year ago. He knows the climb. So let's have a look at how it all worked out for Levi Leipheimer 12 months ago. This was the attack at the bottom. Andy Schleck was in the race at the time, but Leipheimer slipped him and got to the line first. A lone victory in the end. He did get the race lead. He lost it, but he won it back again. Now, 2 weeks ago in the recent Tour of Utah, Leipheimer was at it again, winning what we call the Queen Stage in the mountains there. So we know he's got form, and riding right alongside him is Tyler Farrar. Well, Tyler will be the first to tell you he doesn't climb too well. He doesn't expect to be the race leader by the end of this day. Leipheimer, though, is a logical candidate, and that's why Velits is on the front at the moment here, setting the pace. The twins are here, Peter and Martin Velits, and both willing to work now to see if they can deliver Levi Leipheimer to the summit. Well, maybe we can get some indication before the start this morning. Bob Roll was chatting with Levi Leipheimer.
Levi, you had a day to assess your form in the U.S. Pro Challenge. How did yesterday's stage go?
I feel really good. We've got a bit of a challenge. You know, we only have 5 of us in the race, and it's going to be difficult. We're going to have to pay attention to the bigger teams that have more firepower and really not make any mistakes.
Were you surprised at how ferocious the first part of the race was, yesterday's stage?
Yeah, I think we all were. And, you know, hats off to Garmin. They had a plan, and they really animated the race. And in the end, it turned into some great, you know, entertainment for the folks.
Last year in this stage up to Crested Butte, you put in a huge attack to lay the foundations down for the eventual overall win in this race. What does today's stage mean to you?
Yeah, it's actually where technically I won the race, because Christian and I were basically the same time in the Vail time trial. So it was a special day, something I've never done before. You know, leave everyone behind with 500 or 600 meters to go and pull off that kind of explosion. So I don't know, it could just be a once in a career type thing, but I'm hoping it's 2 times in a career today.
Last year on the stage that left Steamboat Springs, it seemed like a really tough battle with a lot of attacking. You had a really exceptional team in last year's race. Does that worry you at all if there was a similar scenario this year?
Yeah, you know, I definitely, you know, goes through my mind, well, what if I did win again today and took the jersey? That would make the rest of the week quite difficult, but you know what, you can never pass up a win, and I'll never hit the brakes just to you know, not take the jersey. That would be ridiculous.
All right, well, Levi, best of luck today.
Thank you.
Yes, Levi Leipheimer, certainly a winner in his attitude, but he may have made a mistake today with the team, because I'm not so sure they can close this gap now. I think with only 26 kilometers to go, around about 16 miles, a gap of some 4 minutes is a little bit too much, and somebody up front of those 6 riders on 0 time are going to think, hey, I can wear a yellow jersey tomorrow on the road to Aspen. And this is the group here. Overcast conditions at the moment, the clouds beginning to roll in. Let's hope the rain doesn't roll in. These boys have just slipped away from the moment. Dave Zabiskie is putting a little move and being shadowed by recently rejoined Vincenzo Nibali as they now start to work towards the finishing line in Mount Crested Butte. And as you rejoin us now, Tyler Farrar in the XC Race Leaders yellow jersey. Let's have a look how they stand overall. Farrar the winner yesterday, Bazzano beaten in the sprint, Caruso, Freddie Rodriguez and Rory Sutherland. They're the top 5 in the XG overall standings. And they're all in this main field, while the breakaway up front, we've just heard on Radio Tour, is now 4 minutes even. So they're not really picking them up at all as we're running out of road with only 14.5 miles left to race. So I would be very worried now of the 2 Colombian riders, Castiblanco in that front group, as well as Infantino. So while we watch the yellow jersey here, we can now check in with Steve Perino inside the race.
Guys, even before we got to Almont, it was Dave Zabriskie that was driving this thing. 1 breakaway there, they all caught him. He's been trying to make all the moves ever since we've come out of Almont. One man that hasn't has been Nibali. He's been all over the road. So I went up to Jonathan Vaughters and said, what do you make of all this? He says, everyone wants the breakaway to work. No one wants to work for the breakaway.
Yes, it's the old story, Steve, isn't it? They all want to win, and they know that 5 of these riders in this front group who finish in front of the other 4 will be the next yellow jersey, because I don't see this group coming back now. I really don't. It is 4 minutes even coming from the race out there, and I don't think they can close 4 minutes in 14 miles, even if the last 3 miles is uphill. Now, I should emphasize, although we call it Mount Crested Butte, that's the mountain. The road itself is not a severe climb, so it's only a 3rd category climb, but it is enough to break up the field and put measured time gaps between them. And I just feel that the 2 Colombian riders, Jorge Castiblanco and Rafa Infantino, these 2 boys are best suited for that finish. They're the 2 riders right on the front of this breakaway at the moment, both in the same colours of the EPM Uni team. There's the leaders for you, and you see all those on 0 seconds. Whoever finishes in the front of them would be the next leader of the race. It's as simple as that. The boys who haven't got any hope are those last 3 names of these boys up front. So just sat on the back here for BMC is Matthias Frank. A little move is being made here at the front as well. Looks like it might be Matt Cook. It is indeed, who is slipping away. No, it's not. This is Infantino now making his first move here. Now, he finished 6th overall. This is the EPM Uni rider, one of the 2. Now, this is going to draw the sting, which would go in the favour of Jorge Castiblanco.
Well, you know, Phil, this guy is not just a great climber, he's also a very good individual time trialist. So if he gets away on his own, they'll have a hard time catching him. He actually won the under-23 international individual time trial at the Pan Am Championships in 2004.
Well, I have to say, this is a very brave move, because he's a man we expect to climb well. Here he goes on a flat road, right in the full view of the breakaway, and trying to time trial to the finish here. And, of course, he's got one man, Jorge Castiblanco, his teammate, back in that chasing group, who's going to sit there and watch how this pans out. There's no doubt that at the moment, on the road, this man is the leader of the race.
No, certainly he finished 3rd overall in the mountains classification of this race last year as well, when he went on to finish in 6th place overall. He has the tactical advantage of having a teammate in the group behind him. As you said, his teammate Castiblanco will just sit there and allow the other riders to try and pull him back. And then we may well see the older 1-2 with then Castiblanco going out on the attack as well. But I would have expected Castiblanco and this guy we're looking at here of Infantino to wait until the final climb of the day. But he's obviously feeling today, Phil, that he's got strong legs.
Well, the race radio reporting they're still being held at 4 minutes even here, although the chase, by the way, is Jens Voigt, who was dropped in a bit of argy-bargy a few miles back. So there's the breakaway, and there's the gap, and if anything, I think from this angle it looks as though he might be nudging it out a little bit here. Words are coming up for Alec House at the back here from Jonathan Waters, the team director of Garmin Shop. I'm not sure if you can hear anything there from the car. No. Okay. So it's just a little bit of a word of advice. Well, as Waters has said, everybody wants to be in the break. Nobody wants to help us succeed, but they've got to keep the backs into this now, because this is a winning gap. I'm sure about that. So they've really got to ride on. Anyway, as we're approaching the finish, let's have a look at our Road ID Challenge fan predictions, see who you think would win today's stage. 31% of you have gone for TJ Van Garderen. Well, normally I would have said that was a great choice. Levi Leipheimer only 10, Nibali 7, and Cadel Evans 5%. Well, still a chance for Nibali, because he's in that chase group up behind the lone leader at the moment. And don't forget, if you want to make your predictions, go on over to roadid.com/ride and make your predictions for tomorrow. So, I'm talking about tomorrow. The Epic Cycle Series continues on the NBC Sports Network with Stage 2 of the USA Pro Challenge. And it'll be a big day tomorrow. We climb the Independent and Cottonwood Pass at over 12,000 feet. That's tomorrow, 3:30 Eastern on the NBC Sports Network. There's the full entourage behind the peloton, who may be having to concede today. Now, this is Rafa Infantino. He's decided it's all together again, and he slots back in. It was a brave move, but it didn't work. So now, perm anyone from 9 as to who will win the stage and who will be the next leader of the USA Pro Challenge. Welcome back, and let's have a look at our United Healthcare race summary of the story so far. 12-man league group performs a long way out today. Castiblanca wins the first two climbs that we've had. Andy House won the sprint in Gunnison. And then there was the crash involving Ben King, who was moments ago just rejoined the peloton, by the way. That was at 20 miles to go. The current gap is shown at 4 minutes, but I think it's come down even on that now. It's about 3:35, the latest time gap from the race. As Castiblanco, the small rider on the right of our picture here, 152, he can't wait to start the climb up to the line. I am convinced, because he is riding so well when the road goes up. So, as we're running out of time for these riders, just under 11 miles from the finish, which is about 17 kilometers or so. The riders will climb steadily uphill now, gentle though, as they come into the sprint point, which is at the Crested Butte town itself, and then out of there it's straight uphill to the finish. It'll be a real scurry up to the finishing line. That's the profile for you that takes you up. It looks a lot steeper there than it actually is, but it is steep enough, Paul, to break up that group.
Well, it broke up the group last year, and I would expect once we've gone through the sprint point at Crested Butte in the downtown area, once we get through and out of town, it kicks up very dramatically, and that's where you would see the first attacks start to get launched.
Well, a massive crowd there waiting for the finish now. Just look at the crowd here now. The entertainment seems to be over. The next entertainment will be the riders arriving themselves as we come around the butte and straight up to the line. So, as the riders now make their way, the next stop will be the town of Crested Butte, and then the finishing line here. Well, let's take a look at the top Americans after the first stage of the USA Pro Cycling Challenge, presented by USA Cycling. And Tyler Farrar's #1. Freddie Rodriguez sits in 4th. Magnion's the best young rider at the moment in 6th. Kiel Reinen is in 7th, and there's Alex Candelaro down there as well. And looking down towards TJ's in 17th place, Horner's 9th, and Levi Leipheimer, the defending champion, sits there in 18th place, all on 0 time. So that's the situation with the American standing. Let's go down to see the breakaway now. There are quite a few Americans in this breakaway. I don't think they're going to get caught now, not with only 8.7 miles left to race, and the last 3 miles are uphill. The 2 Colombian riders here sitting on the wheel of Dave Zabriskie of Garmin Sharp. And they seem to have control. Vincenzo Nibali is gaining time. He lost time yesterday, but he's gaining time. So for Levi Leipheimer, this is quite a serious situation at the moment. All right, so let's take a look then at the top Americans after today's stage. But first of all, let's go back and talk more about Levi Leipheimer. He's the subject of today's athlete profile, presented by New Belgium. And there is the winner of the inaugural first ever Pro Cycling Challenge we have seen, and it's gone to the American Levi Leipheimer.
When I was 12, 13, it was races like the Coors Classic, which we know is the predecessor of the USA Pro Challenge. And that inspired me as a kid, and being able to win the USA Pro Challenge 25 years after the Coors Classic was a dream come true for me. You know, anytime you defend a title or a victory in a race from the previous year, it's tough. Like, everybody knows that you're the #1 favorite. And this race, you know, the USA Pro Challenge is only getting more and more competitive. Just by nature of being the second year is already going to be tougher. You know, the course is tough. It's Colorado. You've got some very high mountains, and there's a few tough finishes this year. And the time trial in Denver will decide the race as much as the finish up Flagstaff, but the time trial in Denver will make some separation. It's going to take a lot of luck and some great legs and a great time trial, you know, and paying attention and not making any mistakes. It's not rocket science. It's just having good form and staying sharp, staying attentive.
Yeah. Good job, thank you. our new Belgium athlete profile, Levi Leipheimer. Well, the gap is closing down a little bit more on Levi, 38 years of age now, coming back to his old form after a tough season. He is the defending champion here, and he's been 3 times the Amgen Tour of California champion as well. He always rides well in the USA, and he told us earlier, of course, he has good form, he's feeling good. And I can tell you right now, the gap has come down to inside 3 minutes. So the chase is on, but whether they catch up, I really don't think that they can catch up right now. There's the view of the riders when they come straight at us here. As I speak, I hear on race radio, the gap is now 2 minutes and 5 seconds. So all of a sudden, they have started to close down, and I think it's because the leaders are not a fluid working unit like they were. This is a nice view of the peloton here. Ben King got back, by the way, after that long chase, after he took quite a heavy fall back on the highway, after he came through Gunnison. You can see by the speed of the peloton now, they're leaving a lot of work just to 1 or 2 teams, but it is paying off now. Just 2 minutes the gap on those 9 riders, so they might stay away to the finish, but the gains now will not be great, and I think that's probably all that the thought is now of the peloton. Team Radio Shack has started to work. This is the rider with the most to profit by, Jorge Castablanco. He's 10th overall, 0 seconds off the jersey. If he can win from here, he would be the leader at the finish. We're still showing you 2 minutes and 50 seconds. I think it's closer than that. We'll see you in a moment. And that's where we're racing to, Mount Crested Butte. As you rejoin us, a rider's just called us down. And this is one of the riders from EPM Une who has gone down. And it looks to me as though, indeed, it is Suarez Beltran who's gone down here. And that's bad luck. This is in the main field. And just as moments ago, we've heard the gap is now 1 minute and 50 seconds. So again, a touch of wheels here for Eduardo Beltran, who was pretty high up in the overall standings at the start of the day. And now he's losing time, real time here, and he looks a little bit stunned, or he's just looking down to the rear of his bike, but I think he's going to lose town. But so he has been left behind. Let's get back up to the leaders, because they are not working as a unit anymore, and as a result the clock is showing quite a rapid reversal here. They're just not too far away from the sprint in the town of Crested Butte before they start the climb up to the finish. And it's quite possible now, I may have to eat my words here, that this bunch may well pick them up before they get to the top of the road. The profile shows us now heading towards the last S of the day, the waste management sprint, which will be in the town of Crested Butte. And that's how it looks up towards the finish. All steadily uphill now. Hard work being done by Matthias Frank of Team BMC. Well, Bob Roll is now at the finishing line. Let's check in with him.
In professional bike racing, it's the mountain stages that define the overall battle. In last year's U.S. Pro Challenge, Levi Leipheimer used this stage here to Crested Butte to establish his lead, get the leader's jersey, and he turned out the overall winner. The mountains define the GC battle and bring out the craziness in the fans.
Well, that's certainly where go Timmy Duggan, and why not? Timmy's the national USA road racing champion, rides for Liquigas Cannondale. There's the view now of the town of Crested Butte. This is Vincenzo Nibali here. We had that one rider down in the back of the peloton. He's got up and he's riding again. But there's Craig Lewis just popping in for Champion Systems, and this is the man all eyes will be on if they get to the finish now, Paul, because all of a sudden I'm not so sure as they're heading into Crested Butte now and the waste management sprint. But there's no time bonuses here, so it's racing only for the green points jersey.
No, that's all that's at stake at this point. But all of a sudden, Phil, these guys are a little bit concerned. They're all over the road, and you know, it's really quite surprising. Nibali must be thinking about the possibility of getting himself a stage victory. He's in the lime green jersey there, sitting at the front end of the pack. But as we get into Crested Butte, Phil, the disorganisation has come into this group, and they will lose huge chunks of time.
And they're so close to the finishing line, they could be throwing it all away in one fell swoop here as we swing into town now. And this town has been converted to loving this race. Believe me, after it saw it for the first time last year, the whole town will be out, I'm sure of that. They're going for the sprint here, that's for sure. Now, once we leave the town, we start the steady slopes up towards the finish. The last 5 kilometres all uphill. But as you can see, the gap is now down to 1 minute 40 seconds as we go into the last kilometre for the sprint.
Yes, the last kilometre for the sprint, but Phil, once they go through there, it's only about 5 kilometres to the summit, and that's 3 miles of racing. And that's when I expect to see this group literally implode.
Well, they're going to have to go over. They can't do any more shadow boxing now because the peloton will be right on them on the line. Whatever happens now, they are going to close in. As we're looking now at Nibali there. Nibali at one stage regained all his lost time and added at the same time on his advantage. That's all dwindling away now as they keep on just looking at each other here. Nobody's really interested in this sprint. They should really still be concentrating on staying away to win the day.
Well, that's exactly what I think Nibali in their second position there is trying to encourage the other riders in the group to do, Phil, because he realises 1 minute and 40 seconds is a winning advantage for this group. However, if they start to mess around and play tactical games of cat and mouse, they will lose huge chunks of time, which is why the rider in the lime green jersey is come to the front to encourage them to the work. Well, they're just around the corner for the sprint point, and what a decoration that is.
Oh, that's beautiful. As we've actually done a little circuit of the town here, you could have gone straight through and headed up the mountain, but it's added about 1.5 kilometres to the route through the town. Here is the sprint. It looks like Dave Zabriskie is on the front. No real problems, and in the end it was no real sprint either as they flashed through. Alex Howes, it was taking the sprint there, as he did in Gunnison. Terrific welcome here in the town of Crested Butte. As I say, they've really taken this race to heart.
They have, but look at the time gap now. It is starting to plummet. It's 1 minute and 10 seconds. These riders, and I think Dave Zabriskie all of a sudden has realised that. He's trying to help his own teammate in the breakaway with him, and that's Alex Howes. But, you know, to me, the riders who are the most dangerous have got to be the 2 Colombian riders. But, of course, we mustn't forget Craig Lewis from the Chinese team Champion Systems. He lives in Boulder, Colorado. He knows what it's like to race at altitude. He will be very, very motivated to try and get a win here.
Well, the way Alex Howes is riding in this breakaway, the Garmin sharp rider, Zabriskie might be trying to lay it on for House to win the day, because he would be the next leader if he did, and of course it would keep the XG yellow jersey in the team camp because they're on the same team as Tyler Farrar. In fairness, if this race is caught now, it won't be Farrar winning at the end of the day. So Dave Zabriskie continues to lead the group right on the front there. A story yesterday was one of the ups and downs as we go through 4 kilometres to the finish now. Zabriskie was in the break all day, dropped off, was violently ill, and finally lost 15 minutes. So now he's the workhorse for Garmin Sharp.
Well, that's what you've got to understand about this sport, Phil. It's not about individuals, it's about working for the team. And yesterday, Team Garmin Sharp put 4 riders into a leading breakaway group of 23. That was to toughen the race up. It didn't work yesterday, although they did get themselves the win with Tyler Farrar to the end of the stage. That's where we're climbing up to now. You can start to see the ski resort, but the race referees have just moved everybody out of that gap. So the race referees think that this may well all come back together inside of the last couple of kilometres.
They're talking about 37 seconds at the moment, and here's the peloton. They're also exiting the town now of Crested Butte, as we now see riders here starting to shoot off the front as well. Some are club cyclists, I think, but right in the distance, this is the move here that's coming at the moment from Garmin Sharp. These are all riders who have now come out of that breakaway. It's amazing, Paul, but they've thrown this race away today.
Well, they've just lost all the cooperation there, this leading group of riders. That's why all of a sudden we've seen the gap in the last 15 kilometres, Phil, plummet from 2 minutes advantage to just a mere 40 seconds. The race is all starting to come back together. Very shortly, we're starting to get onto the slopes of the climb, and look how the gaps are starting to appear.
Well, that is the lime green jersey there of Vincenzo Nibali. He's decided to get it, just gone by 3 kilometres to go. That's all. As our cameras pull back, you're going to see the peloton. It's going to be a real chase uphill now. It's totally uphill to the finishing line. No difference as our helicopter tries. And this is the move we expected, Paul. This is Castablanco. He could not wait any longer because the race is right up behind. If this man wins, he's got a yellow jersey to collect.
Well, he's got a yellow jersey, he's got a King of the Mountains jersey, and the stage victory if he can now. Indeed. They're going to have to do do something special to pull him back, and they say, oh, we can't go up the speed that this Colombian rider has got here at the moment, and they've regrouped a fraction. But Phil, if they just look over their shoulders, only about 500 meters behind them is the yellow jersey, because the yellow jersey, Tyler Farah, he's out of the picture today.
Well, I don't think we're surprised by that as he's dropped back, and this is the man who's the next candidate now. He knew that peloton was coming. I'm not sure he wanted to attack quite this early on the climbs. He would have liked it to have got a little bit harder, but there's no doubt if he crosses the line first, he will not only be the leader of the race, he'll be the new leader in the Nissan King of the Mountains as well. So this could be a huge day out now for this man from Colombia, one of the smallest riders in the race.
Well, the funny thing is, Phil, we're talking about a renaissance of American cycling, Australian cycling, British cycling with these, what, 21, 22, 23-year-olds. Well, the rider we're looking at here from Colombia is just 23 years of age. He's been a professional just for a couple of seasons, and what a performance he's putting in here.
There's our man from Texas flying the flag here. Nice rack up there with lots of points as we go by. That's the breakaway. As we pan back, the peloton not quite in view there. This is an all-out effort now by Jorge Castablanco. He first of all was alone over the summit of the first climb in Quero. He then waited for the regrouping of the breakaway. Then he went again on the Blue Mesa. Then he waited again, and he's lay low until now.
Well, Matthias Frank now says, I'm going to have a go at this here this afternoon. And it's number 22, 22 years of age, Matthias Frank, and he's come across the gap, and then all of a sudden here he is. What a great move, and he goes straight past him.
Well,
no, he doesn't.
Has he? Because the reaction has come very swiftly. 2 kilometers to go there on the board now. Well, Matthias Frank, who had the lead in the Tour of Trentino for a day in April, he then became the best young rider in the Tour of Switzerland in June, just before the Tour de France. He's now looking for a yellow jersey because he's in the same boat as Castablanco on 0 seconds. A win means yellow.
Well, he waited for the moment that he could start to see the Colombian rider weaken a fraction. Then when he felt his chance was right, he leapt out of the pack. Now they're going to have to do something special to catch this guy back, because at 22 years of age, he is a very good rider on this BMC squad. And I'll tell you something, Phil, the BMC racing team have brought a very, very solid team here. Yep. Look at the gap that he's got. The next banner that he will see will be 1 kilometer to go, and he will start to dream about a stage victory.
Why not dream now? Because that's a huge gap with just on about 1 mile to climb to the finishing line now. The next banner will be 1 kilometer to go. Matthias Frank, what a reversal of team tactics by BMC, because yesterday they lost 12 minutes with Cadel Evans. TJ Van Garderen is their star, but here we now have Team BMC's Matthias Frank going to give them an early present, a yellow jersey for sure.
But just look at his style here, Phil. I can tell this man is very, very strong indeed. He's not been weakened by this long race that he's had in the breakaway group this afternoon. His pedaling action is nice and supple. He's keeping the cadence up as high as 95 revolutions a minute, and he's going very fast. Look at the reaction behind him. It really is splitting this group to pieces.
Well, there we are. In the distance is the Nissan Electric Leaf drive to the finish here. 1 kilometer to go. There is a huge crowd. Absolutely fabulous atmosphere here. There's even somebody straight out of jail, look, on the left there to come and see Matthias Frank come up the hill now as they race up towards the summit. This is even a bigger crowd than last year when Levi Leipheimer was coming home in first place. But now it's Matthias Frank, and with it comes the XD yellow jersey. There's the main field also under now 1 kilometer. They're right behind.
Well, it's all going to go down to as Matthias Frank can keep that rhythm going there. The rider from Colombia, Phil, is climbing back up towards the wheel of the rider from Switzerland. The race referees, they're all trying to get out of the way very shortly as Matthias Frank looks over his shoulder. He's trying to say to himself what has happened here this afternoon, because they're starting to come back and all back together.
They've gone straight past him, and he didn't make it. They've gone completely past him, and right up there now, these are riders who've come through from the back. This is Rincon sitting at the back now, and right up there too is Ivan Rovny of Russia. These are the riders who have come through, and this is Alex Howes hanging on from the breakaway. He's the only survivor now, and there's more coming. That looks very much like TJ Van Garderen to me, who's launched an attack on the right of the road.
Well, I tell you what, Phil, all of a sudden these guys have been caught to very, very dramatically. That is TJ Van Garderen. I have no idea where he's come from.
So there is TJ Van Garderen now, who has taken the bull by the horns. This is incredible. Moments ago, his own teammate was set for yellow. Now TJ Van Garderen is looking for the yellow jersey. And just sitting on the back of the wheel there is Christian van der Velde, who also had a remarkable ride up here. And so those two going clear now. The one that wins gets yellow. It's as simple as that. TJ Van Garderen is covering now as Christian van der Velde, who was the leader for a couple of days of the recent Tour de Butte. Can he combine?
Well, I'll tell you what, TJ Van Garderen now has to commit himself, and that gives Christian van der Velde in second position a slightly easier ride. Van der Velde just on the wheel there, but has he got the explosive nature that you need to win a race like this? Van Garderen looks over his shoulder, waiting to see if there's going to be any challenge coming from Van der Velde.
Well, Van der Velde is making his move now, and I don't think TJ can answer that, or can he? TJ is digging deep here. He's taking Christian van der Velde on, shoulder to shoulder, and as he comes up now, TJ Van Garderen becomes the next leader of the USA Pro Challenge as he comes off that bend. He snatches the win. He pulls it out of absolutely nowhere with just on half a kilometre to go to the line.
Well, I don't know how they came back. There is Levi Leipheimer in about 4th or 5th position coming across there in the pale blue jersey. But that, when we look at this guy, Phil, 23 years of age, he rode a perfect race here this afternoon, set up by his teammates. They had a team man in the breakaway, Matthias Frank, but he laid everything on the line over those final couple of kilometres. I'll tell you one thing, I have to say, for the kilometre to go, I thought it was all over.
Well, he's 24 now, Paul. Had his birthday last Sunday.
That's
but
right.
Even so, yes, and he's got the yellow jersey. He's disqualified from the under-23 competition now. But TJ Van Garderen, that's a big win, that, because it never looked likely at all until the last 500 metres of the day. Well, there's the situation there of the riders totally exhausted here at the top of the Mountain Butte. That is Bazana, who's wearing the Waste Management Green Points jersey. He will lose that jersey today now. It was, in fact, Tyler Farrer's jersey as well as the yellow. They're both gone for Tyler Farrer.
This is Vincenzo Nibali. He was in the breakaway, Phil, at the start of the climb, and he's lost a minute by the summit.
He was looking for a stage win today. He's not looking to win this race. He's looking for a stage win. Again, it's gone wrong. So he sat up and he's come home. He lost a minute 46 yesterday. Now you can add on a minute 23.
Well, I have to tell you one thing, Phil. I feel that this stage today has been... that's Levi Leipheimer giving a quick interview just after his finish. He keeps himself in contention, but this race has done much more damage today than it did 12 months ago.
Yes, you may well be right. An interesting Christian van der Velde was in the hunt a year ago, was in the hunt again. Here's Cadel Evans coming up on the left of our picture. Well, he lost a lot of time yesterday. George Hincapie coming in. He's saving his strength now because he knows that TJ Van Garderen is going to need his help as this race unfolds, and not least tomorrow when we top out 12,000 feet on 2 occasions on the stage across to Aspen. There's a nice view not many people would see here of Mount Crested Butte. A terrific crowd and a terrific race today. There's all smiles. TJ Van Garderen, you superstar.
Well, congratulated there by George Hincapie, who runs the last race here at the USA Pro Challenge. And just looking at the face, Phil, of the new 24-year-old TJ Van Garderen, he looks as if he's been on a Sunday bike ride here this afternoon.
Yes, he most certainly does. He just drifts off there. He's heading round now to collect a yellow jersey as well as a stage winner's prize here as he heads for the podium. But that was pulled out of nowhere, which means that that field came so quick. Half the peloton was still going under the kilometre banner as TJ was wiping out his own teammate at the front.
Absolutely remarkable. This man, he said last year, he says, I'm getting a bit fed up of winning the best young rider competition in all these races. I want to actually win one of these big races myself. Well, he's set himself now up to be the big favourite for this bike race. He's the one that everybody's got to knock off the top podium.
Yes, absolutely. Well, Team BMC all of a sudden, after it was all day talking about Team Garmin Sharp yesterday, they really pulled it now in their direction as TJ Van Garderen becomes the next race leader. There will be slight time separation, but we're not talking much, and Levi Leipheimer knew what had to be done, and he didn't lose much time at all. So they're still very much in the mix, and Christian van der Velde also showing us that he's also brought a nice pair of legs. Well, terrific for TJ Van Garderen, no doubt about that. He had his 24th birthday on the 12th of August, which was the last day of the Olympic Games, by the way, and in which he was a participant as they come up to the finish.
Well, all of a sudden, Christian van der Velde knew that was the moment that he had to make the acceleration. He came just alongside Van Garderen, but the younger rider still had the second jump. And when he came into the finishing line, he had plenty of time to celebrate as he crosses the line. He was given the same time as Christian van der Velde. Van der Velde will be happy about that as it keeps him high up in the overall standings. And there's a 6-second gap back to the next rider to come across the line.
And that is his first win of the year, and I'm surprising myself by even saying that. He finished 5th at the beginning of the year where he won the Best Young Rider in Paris-Nice. He then came on to finish 4th overall in the Amgen Tour of California and 5th in the Tour de France. So there we are, United Healthcare stage results. TJ Van Garderen gets his first win of the season on Mount Crested Butte. Christian van der Velde, they're given in the same time. Ivan Rovny at 6 seconds, Leipheimer at 8 seconds, Tommy Danielson 6th at 12 seconds. These are still manageable gaps. And there's Joe Dombrowski again, the youngster on Montrose in 7th place. He's also a big threat. Peloton coming in there, and 5 minutes just on has gone by since TJ crossed the line.
But bear in mind, Phil, there was 5 minutes lost in 5 kilometres.
That's right.
That's just how big the time gaps were over those last 3 miles of racing.
Yeah, absolutely right, Paul. It's been a tough end to the day. So there's the view now. Now all that remains for us is to catch up with a few names for you and also show you the presentations here on the top of Mount Crested Butte. All of the riders staying up here today before they go back to Gunnison for the start tomorrow, heading to Aspen over the 2 big passes. Still 1 or 2 riders continue to shake hands with a very enthusiastic crowd here as they continue to come up the hill and into the finish. Nearly 6 minutes now has passed by. So we're just seeing one of the riders there from the Upton presented by Kelly Benefit Strategies coming in. They'll be pleased to see the finishing line. It's just over 6 minutes since TJ came in. And still they come. Once you get unhitched from that peloton, you lose big time because the wind just hits you. So TJ now has his first win of the season. He won 1 race only last year, which came nearly the same time of the year. It was the 3rd stage in the time trial in the Tour of Utah, which was also a little bit earlier in August, when he really was 23 years of age. All right, well, we'll take a break. We haven't finished our live coverage yet, though. We'll come back and we will have interviews and hopefully all of the podiums for you. See you in a moment.
That young man always punches above his weight. Ben King, former U.S. Pro Champion, who's come across the line. That's very good to see.
We are now looking at the GoPro aerial images here. It is Mount Crested Butte, where the 2nd stage of the Pro Challenge has just arrived, and a win for TJ Van Garderen in fine style. But in the same time as Christian van der Velde of the Garmin team, had it been the other way around on the finishing line, then there would have been a yellow jersey awaiting Christian. But on this occasion, it's the yellow jersey now passing onto the shoulders of TJ Van Garderen. Massive crowd up here, as this is the team compound. They will stay here tonight before they go down to Gunnison for the start tomorrow. All right, let's have a look first of all at our Road ID ride of the day. Well, there are a lot of qualifiers for this, but in the end of the day, it has to be the move by TJ Van Garderen. No sooner had he come from the peloton to the remnants of the breakaway that he and Christian van der Velde, and he was really strong because Van Garderen had to lead all the way up, and Christian van der Velde thought he would have had it on the lead out, but not to be. And really, looking at that picture, there should be a 1 second time gap because there's no way they are finishing in the same time. But nonetheless, there we have it. TJ Van Garderen gets the victory as he crossed the line, looks over at Christian van der Velde. So that was our Road ID ride of the day. Don't forget to head on over to roadid.com/ride. Submit your prediction of who you think will win tomorrow's stage into Aspen. You could also win a 2013 Trek Madone. So as we look at the empty finishing line now, we can go down to Bob Roll, who's now with TJ Van Garderen. Bob.
TJ, an absolutely emphatic stage win. Did you mark this stage down before the race started as one you wanted to excel at?
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, I knew that there's this day, Aspen, Beaver Creek, and Boulder were going to be the decisive ones, and I just thought, hit out early, and we'll give it a shot.
It seemed to be a little bit of a confusing finale, the last few kilometers with the breakaway. Some very strong riders in the breakaway, and in the peloton were your teammates guiding you to the front so you had a chance to win the stage?
Yeah, teammates did a great job guiding me to the front. Matias did a good job being in the break. He's a super strong climber, GC rider. So we were safe, like we didn't have to do much work all day. We just started doing some work in the closing kilometers. And, you know, at first I was thinking, I don't know if I want to go for it, but, you know, the team kind of put a little pressure on me to do it by working so hard, so I'm glad I didn't let them down.
Well, speaking of which, you now have the leader's yellow jersey. We try to defend that, and what are some of the tactical things you guys need to pay attention to?
Well, yeah, we have a super strong team. I think Christian's still on the same time as me. So, yeah, and it's still a super close race, and we just need to make sure that Garmin's not too aggressive in the break. And but yeah, I mean, we got a strong team, and I'm confident.
Well, best of luck in the days to come, and congratulations.
Thank you very much.
What a star of the future he is. Well, he's a star already, really, isn't he? As we see there, TJ Van Gogh is right. Christian Van der Velde, I think we'll find, is equal on time with him. Let's have a look at the United Healthcare Stage 2 results. Yes, they put Van der Velde in the same time as Van Garderen. Rovny third. Leipheimer 8 seconds off, but in fourth place. Rincon, who started the moves there, 8 seconds off in fifth place. Now, let's go down to the podium and see TJ on the top spot. Well, there it is, Paul. TJ Van Garderen, all smiles, albeit still very close to the top, but he is the next man in the hot seat.
Yes, he certainly is, and I wonder if it's a premonition, because the man who won this stage last year into Mount Crested Butte, Levi Leipheimer, went on to win the bike race overall. But that was an emphatic win by the youngster TJ Van Garderen, and a confident win, I would have to say.
Well, he felt he had to finish it off because of the way the team had ridden all day, and when he saw Matthias Frank, his teammate, being wiped out, he made a run for it. But what strength has this young man got? He led all the way to the line, and Van der Velde could not get round him.
Bear in mind, Phil, that he's participated in the Tour de France now on 2 separate occasions, and I've always said that once you ride a big, long 3-week bike race like that, it gives you that little bit of latent strength that you can never actually acquire from a training program.
All right, well, there's the big crowd. Let's have a look at the United Healthcare overall standings now. It makes it interesting reading this. Van der Velde, who lost this race a year ago by 11 seconds, is still equal on time behind TJ Van Garderen. Ivan Rovny comes into third. Leipheimer is into fourth. He was in yellow this time last year, don't forget. Ramiro Rincon in fifth, 8 seconds. Damiano Caruso has only slipped a little bit. He's 12 seconds back with Bazana. Chris Horner moves up from 9th to 8th. And Lucas Jusa has also got himself onto the top places. This is back onto the finishing line. This is Ivan Rovny being introduced to the crowd, who has finished third on the day.
Yep, he was a surprise return to the top. This is a squad that's been put together as part of the Russian development squad for the future. They've already got a professional team on the international circuit, Team Katusha. But this man, I tell you what, Phil, I wonder where he'd come from. But he was the one probably who set it up for TJ Van Garderen, who was keeping a very close eye on the front end of affairs.
Yes, good job you kept a close eye on this man as well, because he's clearly a good climber sprinter. So we'll see how it unfolds for him tomorrow on the high mountains. Christian Van der Velde finished second in this race a year ago. Listen to the crowd, they love him here. Again in the mix at the climb up to the finishing line, beaten in the end, but keeps the same time, and he now sits second in this race. He led the Tour of Utah, by the way, for 3 days, just a few days ago before coming to this event. He's carried the form with him.
Well, Phil, I think if we got a massive cheer for Christian Van der Velde, wait till the next man comes up to get onto the top step of the podium, because at just 24 years of age, TJ Van Garderen is already getting quite a cult following in the United States.
And he's earned it too, because he's been such a tremendous bike rider. 5th in his second Tour de France, and he was the best young rider in white jersey. So let's wait for him. Here he comes. So there they are. Oh, he's getting some skis. I don't reckon he's going to hang around here till the snow season starts. They'll be on the road tomorrow to Aspen, but they might come in useful at the end of the year.
Well, hopefully only at the end of the year, because this man has to look after himself for the rest of the season, and that's the jersey which is dedicated to the winner of the stage. A reminder of the fact that he raced today all the way from Montrose to Mount Crested Butte, 160 kilometres, 99 miles.
Yeah, a very fast time again today. I really didn't believe they could possibly close down 4¼ minutes in the short distance that remained, but they did, because the breakaway literally threw away their chances by imploding towards the end. And these boys, none was in that breakaway, but all three here are on the podium.
Well, that's the great thing about the sport, Phil, because you can put any which way of connotations down that you want to, and all of a sudden somebody comes up with a different interpretation of the rules. And these guys came up with a different interpretation of the rules this afternoon to get themselves first, second and third place.
So we should be seeing the Nissan King of the Mountains leader next, and it should still be Tom Danielson. If they hadn't caught that breakaway, it wouldn't have been Tom Danielson. So his jersey has been saved by that breakaway getting caught. We're just waiting for Tommy D to come out. And of course it's my calculation, so I'm hoping that it's going to be Tommy Danielson who steps up. Just thought for a moment Rodney was negotiating the finishing area, but I think we're still waiting for it.
Well, there'll be a much bigger battle tomorrow, because there are two first category climbs out on the course tomorrow. We go to Cottonwood Pass and then Independence Pass. And isn't it mean to the organisation, because they take them over Independence Pass into the town of Aspen, and the following day they have to come back over the top of that climb.
It's going to be popular. In fact, they're bussing people up to the top of the pass because they're keeping the roads closed, but they're having a shuttle network service. And there he is, Tom Danielson, our hero of the breakaway yesterday, where he built his lead in the Nissan King of the Mountains, gets to keep his jersey for another day. No points scored today, but the calculations all worked out in his favour.
No, they certainly did. I think he'll come out and do a little bit of battle tomorrow, but he's kept himself high in the overall standings. This race is far from over. The top riders in the overall standings tonight, Phil, are not really separated by very much time at all. We're only looking at a few seconds which one way or the other.
Yes, absolutely right. And Tommy D has said he will attack again. He's not thinking of just winning the Nissan King of the Mountains. He also wants to get his hands on that final extra yellow jersey by the time we get down to Denver next Sunday.
And let's not forget the added little bit of pressure, because his team, Garmin Sharpville, are of course the team from Boulder.
Well, they're on the Nissan standings in the King of the Mountains, 23. Matt Cook came up to 20 today. He was in the breakaway, so too Castiblanco and Nibali. So they've increased their lead. Now they've gone second, third and fourth in the competition. Freddy Piemonte, he didn't get any points for the EPM Une team. Now we're going back out, and Tyler Farrar coming on board, so he must have kept his lead in the Waste Management Green Jersey Points competition.
Well, he's changed one jersey for another jersey, and this is the lead. This is the jersey really, Phil, which is normally designated, who designates the best sprinter, and he was definitely the best sprinter of yesterday's stage, got himself maximum points on the finish line. I think with the way this race is, and when you look at the race profile of the USA Pro Challenge here, it's going to be very difficult for him to take this green jersey all the way down to Denver.
Yeah, but he's also refound his confidence with his first win for over a year yesterday in Telluride.
Crazy finish.
And I think once you've broken the monkey on your back, I think you'll start to ride really well again. So we'll see how he goes. There's some tough roads ahead for him. He knows that. But there's also like a finish in Colorado Springs that would suit him down to the ground. Now let's see where we're going next. We haven't seen the most aggressive rider yet. There's the standings in the Waste Management Sprint competition. No, he's got 15 points, 3 more than Bassala, 10 for Alex House, who's in the break as well today. Caruso stays there, and Rodriguez. So no real change there, except Alex House, because of his sprinting out on the course today, comes in at third place. This is a good start. This is the best young rider competition now for Aquadrat, and this is Joe Dombrowski of the Bontrager team. And I'll tell you, Paul, he's now got his hands on this jersey, and it'll be a tough one to get it off his back.
No, he's a great young bike rider. This is a great team, Bontrager Livestrong. They're a development squad at under 23 years of age. You have to be a part of this squad, and he will be looking to really trying to consolidate on that lead. He's a very good climber and a good tip for the future, and it's great to see that a lot of these these big teams now have got development squads attached to them.
Yes, he won the under-27s Giro d'Italia, picking up the win very near the end. He won 2 stages as well in June. You don't win that race unless you are going to one day be a star of the Tour de France. Let's have a look at the Aquadron standings now. He has a lead of 9 seconds over yesterday's leader in this competition, his own teammate Gavin Mannion. George Bennett is third at 21. Javier Gomez is there as well. And Edouard Beltran, the rider we saw crash today, and he's clearly lost time. He's come in behind the field, 3 minutes time. This is the Evolve Beverages, a most aggressive rider, and it's gone to the late mover, Rafa Infantino, who was in the breakaway today. He's voted today's most aggressive rider. So he salutes the crowd here, and he almost pulled it off. He tried that late attack as we went up towards the finish line, but it didn't work out for him. And in the end, the big boys did catch up, but they left it rather late today. Well, there's still more to come. We'll take another short break. Rejoin us as we continue our coverage of the USA Pro Challenge. See you in a moment. Welcome back. Well, the roads in Colorado again provides with a great stage, Paul, and it all changed in the last 500 meters.
Well, I, for one, Phil, was very, very convinced that with a 4-minute gap at about 30 miles to go, it was all over. When it was still 2 minutes at 15 miles to go, I was convinced that we were going to see those guys getting the victory, but it turned around in the last mile.
All right, well, let's have a look at tomorrow's map presented by Evolve Beverages. And this is not one for the week because we go over major climbs today. We start in Gunnison, Paul, at 7,700 feet.
Yes, but that's not what the interesting part is, Phil, because once we've gone through the town of Almont, we go over the small climb, a third category. It's up to the high Cottonwood Pass, 12,126 feet in altitude, through the town of Buena Vista, and then the final climb of the day, Independence Pass, also in excess of 12,000 feet.
And you can enjoy it with us, but don't forget, tune in tonight at 11 p.m. Eastern for the 2012 USA Pro Challenge recap show here on the NBC Sports Network. And tomorrow, don't miss Stage 3. It comes to you at 3:30 Eastern as the cyclists now head from Gunnison to Aspen, right here on the NBC Sports Network. Also, for a full schedule and race highlights, log on to NBCSports.com. And for all race information, log on to ProChallenge.com as well. Our thanks to Pearl Zumi for providing with us all our on-air clothing, and congratulations to today's winner, TJ Van Garderen, the new leader of the race. Stay tuned now for NBC Sports Talk. That is up next. But from us in Mount Crested Butte, it's goodbye from the team. We'll see you all tomorrow in Aspen. Goodbye.
Podium girls.